Yeah.
I have to be here for 5 days. And it was interesting. It wasn't frightening because I
Hmm.
recognized the sensation, when I felt it, but it was just very overwhelming.
Was it a very sad feeling? Do you think?
A very what?
Was it a very somber, a very sad type of feel
Yes.
to it? Yeah.
Yes. And there was a lot of fear. Everywhere that I went, I expected to feel like the resolute, stalwart, strong, we're just going to do this. Let's just, make
Hmm.
sure we're the ones that come out. And what I really felt the most was fear
Yeah.
because they knew. They knew
Hmm.
the odds of leaving.
Yeah.
And sadly they were right. But the fear was there, and then it kind of evolved. Like you could feel them trying to gird their loins, as it were,
Yeah.
and they were just having to fight to be able to, because if they ran away, they would be shot for desertion. So
Of course. Yeah.
there was no alternative. Either way, the risk of death was right there, and it was definite if they ran. So, which I think is tragic. You
Mm.
shouldn't. Well, I don't know. I guess people wouldn't go into battle if they didn't face that alternative, right? That's why they do that. But it's still
Yeah.
wrong. It's still wrong. They didn't
Mm.
have conscientious objectors back then like we do now. Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't an option.
No, not at all, was it?
Mm-mm. So anyway, yes, it was very somber. There was a lot of fear, a lot of power in the fear. Fear is a very powerful emotion.
Hmm.
And that's what I got. So, I'm a pretty good shield. I'm a really good shield, and that was just a shock. And I interrupted you, but when you were talking about that, it just hit home because that was so fresh. It is fresh.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I can imagine because I've been there myself. I went to a place in Scotland called Culloden, and
Called
it's
what?
the Battle of Culloden. It was called,
Okay. Culloden.
and it was where the English massacred the Scots, going back in the day, and you could just sit there next to a cross which was right in the middle of the battlefield, and there's a chair right next to the cross, and you just sit there, and it's just so sad. It's just like
Yes.
and it's just like you say, it's just very very somber, very sad, and it just sort of it makes you feel down actually.
I did. And
Mm.
it was, in my instance, I was there covering an event where I was meeting people that I had talked to for years and never had the opportunity to meet, and seeing, old friends who I did know personally,
Hmm.
like face to face. And
Hmm.
it was very difficult to maintain my equilibrium and to not
Hmm.
be, just a Debbie Downer the whole time I was there, because it was just odd
Hmm.
and very difficult to cope with.
Hmm.
So, and very depressing, I guess would be but not depressing isn't really you felt theirs. It
Yeah,
didn't depress me, it suppressed me.
yeah,
My natural personality, I was just suppressed by everything there. That's a better term for it.
yeah.
Which is better than oppression any day of the week. And now that we have just taken this wonderful upbeat turn in our conversation, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
but it is what it is. So, well, when you were in, you said Cadogan, that's how you say that?
The Battle of Culloden, it was.
Culloden. I
Yeah.
wrote a D. But how long ago was that?
Oh, that was probably about 7 years ago, I would say. It's been a long time since I've been to a battlefield.
Does it affect you like that too?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't just being a wuss.
No, it's like I said, it's all those emotions, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's imprinted in the very fabric of the battlefield itself, isn't it?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're there for.
Indeed,
they're not there to be nice. They're not dancing.
No.
So it's a whole different perspective, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Well, it does make me feel better that you experienced that also, because I know how strong you are. And if you felt that, then I wasn't just,
That's what it is.
Being wild with that. So, well, I hate to be this way, but where else have you been impacted in such a way?
A good example, I would probably say, did you watch the video of Skidbuck Church?
Yes.
That was heavy. that was a place to handle. Basically, just to let your listeners know about Skidbuck Church. One of the projects I'm looking at now, which I'm working on now, is Physical Earth. And basically Physical Earth is a YouTube channel. It's a new YouTube channel, so there's not many videos on it yet. But there's only 2 videos. There's one of Skidbuck Church, the one you watched, and then there's a short video of when I worked with the Anglishman painting. Skidbuck Church, it's in a place called Lincolnshire in England.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the nickname of the Devil Church. The Demon Church. Because basically, back in the 1950s, it was used for occultists to practice the black arts. Because Skidbuck Church is a church that has been on the site for, I think it goes back to about, it's about 800 years old, I think. And it's just a church on the site which is abandoned. It's an abandoned church, and it's in really good condition. And anybody can go in there. And that's why the occultists use it in the 1950s. And it's kind of left an imprint, like we was on about the battlefield.
Right.
Well, it's left an imprint there. And it's so negative. I mean, Kat, you would, in a sense, you would love the place, but I think it would also make you wary as well.
Well, because I do feel those things, and sometimes I can hear them, and I don't like when I can do that most of the time, because sometimes they just say, "Well, hello," and other times they're much less friendly.
Oh, very much so.
Sometimes they go on for days about the weather, which I can relate to because I'm Southern and that's what we do. So, it's just one of those things that I don't know that I would cope that well. But I've been to places that have had that kind of activity, and it's doable. I mean, it's not as overwhelming. I think that I was just taken by surprise in Gettysburg, so I didn't realize I was already coming upon battle areas.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why I was just so taken by surprise. Plus, it really is strong. I think I would do okay. I've been places that have been used by occultists, that they've invoked things and opened portals for and things of that nature.
Yeah,
and
it leaves this imprint.
Yes, it does. And especially when they don't know how to close them back up, or they just really don't care if they do or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's very, very true. And as you saw on the video itself, there's a lady that I work with called Maxine Jane Briggs, and she's
Love
been my
her.
manager for about, yeah, you know Maxine, don't you?
I do know her.
She's been my manager now for about 4 years now, maybe 3 years now, I think it is. And she's a good friend as well. And whenever I go into trance, whenever I do the transfiguration, she's always there to make sure that I'm okay. I am okay, and I can bring myself out of it.
Right. Well, that's something
Um,
else we're going to pick up when we come back from this next break or in the next
mhm.
hour is the trance stuff. But go ahead. I did not mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to note that.
Yeah, no problem. And at Skidbutt Church, it was strange, as you probably saw yourself.
Yes.
Um, it was it was. I was being very negative. I was being very, very, very not. It definitely wasn't me,
Right.
and I wasn't putting it on. Um,
Well, you wouldn't do
the,
that.
no, no. Well, when you put things on, you cheat yourself, don't you?
You do. You're just
Yeah.
missing out on what really is happening because you're needing to be the focus.
That's right. Yeah, and it did. Well, at one point, I can only say what two, three people said the same thing actually. Is when I went into trance, I did the transfiguration. That was successful. It didn't catch up.
Right.
Transfiguration doesn't always catch on film. Um, but they said that my eyes turned black,
Oh,
which was quite interesting.
that
But
is
it was at
because
that
they're not
point.
even dark.
No. Well, what they said was that what I thought they meant. Like you got your pupils, and then you got the whites of your eyes. What they said is that my eyes turned all black.
Yes.
Um, so and it was at that point you probably saw on the video is where they took me out of the church.
I just couldn't believe that you were going through that.
Mm. It was interesting, just to say the least.
Did you feel it
Um,
as it was going on? Were you aware at all?
Yeah, well, do you know what the thing about Physical Earth is pushing the boundaries really.
Yes.
It's about taking people on the YouTube channel to locations that they're mainly all outside locations,
Right.
but it's different topics from UFOs to a demon church to vampires. You
Oh,
know,
and I want to talk with you about that too because I
mhm.
have I had an interesting guest recently or fairly recently about that. But we are up against our second break, so we'll be back in 2 minutes.